Hello everyone, my name's Hayden. I'm a landscape and nature photographer based in Essex in the UK. Those of you that follow my work know that I love macro photography and it's a big part of what I do. I'm out here today with this Pentax Spotmatic SP2 again, but I've got a new lens for it this time. Over the Christmas period I picked up this, a Super-Takumar 50f4 macro lens. We're going to be wandering around the Woodland here today at Holland Haven Nature Reserve, looking for some mushrooms and the like to photograph. So I've just finished composing my next shot here. There's these fungi growing out of this log here and it should create a really interesting composition. All I need to do now is take my light meter reading. It's going to be 1 second at f16. I just started to pack up my gear after that last composition that we found of the fungi growing out the log, and I just noticed this tiny mushroom growing out of this little log here. So I found a nice composition here, and all I need to do now is take my light meter reading. Once again I'm using the incident method, so I'm measuring the light that's falling onto the scene. And this one's going to be half a second at f11. So I've just found my next composition here and I've just finished framing it up. This one should have a lot of tones and textures in it and it should be quite nice. There's a lot of lighter sticks contrasting against darker sticks. I've already taken my meter reading for this one and it's going to be at f11 half a second. So I've just found my next subject that I'm going to photograph here today. There's some really interesting textures in this tree here that's snapped and the fibres really stand out to me. There should be some great tones in this one. All I need to do now is meter the scene. Okay, so this one's going to be at f8 half a second. There's some fantastic shape in this tree here that I've just found. and hopefully it creates an interesting composition. It's quite dark and it's sort of backlit, so I have slightly overexposed just by one stop to make sure that that detail comes out nicely. So with this particular Takuma lens, I can reproduce my subjects at a 1:2 ratio. There is an earlier Takuma lens that does 1:1, but that one is a little bit harder to find. The Super Takuma and the Super Multi-Coated Takuma lenses are a 1:2 ratio. So I've just finished taking my light meter reading on this scene, and just as I was about to take the photograph, a spider's walked onto one of the leaves, so it's added a little bit of interest into this particular photograph. So I'm just using the magnifier here to make sure that that focus is spot on. There's lots of detail in this next shot that I'm just framing up here, and I'm just going to use the magnifier to make sure that I've nailed the focus perfectly. So I've made my way back round to where we were at the start of the video, and I'm photographing these fungi again. There's lots of different angles and compositions that I can get here, and there's plenty more to explore at this particular part of the woodland. All I need to do now is take my light meter reading. And this one's going to be at f11 at 1 second. Of course, when doing macro photography, depth of field is really important. With our digital cameras we can do focus stacking, so it's not necessarily an issue. But here I'm having to use really small apertures, so around f11, f16, just to make sure that I can get a nice depth of field and make sure that everything's in focus. It's starting to get a little bit later in the afternoon now and the lighting's starting to fall off. I'm going to have to keep double checking my light meter readings, and I'm going to have to start, unfortunately, opening up the lens a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't come to that and the lighting stays around a little bit longer, because obviously I'll lose my deep depth of field. So I'm just going to use the magnifier and double check my focus. And that looks spot on. Obviously, if this lens being f4 as the maximum aperture, the viewfinder is quite dark as it is, so a magnifier does make it a little bit darker, but it does help obviously make sure that I get that critical focus. So I think it's time to wrap up the video. I've just finished off this last frame with this T-Max 100 that I've got in the Spotmatic here. It's been quite interesting doing some macro photography with film. As I said at the start of the video, I haven't done a lot of it before. I mainly do it in my digital work. Next time I come out here with this setup, I'm going to be exploring using flash with macro photography. So stay tuned for that one. It should be a good one. I hope everybody had a fantastic Christmas, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next one.